welcome to Top 30. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
A new study found almost 1 out of 10 accidents are caused by drowsy drivers. That is way above federal estimates of just 1 or 2%. AAA conducted the study by mounting cameras in cars of almost 3,600 volunteers over 3 years, calling it the most in-depth study ever done on drowsy driving. Researchers studied the driver's eyes before an accident to determine if they were driving drowsy and found that 9.5% of drivers in all the accidents in their survey showed signs of being sleepy. They want to warn people who think singing, drinking coffee, or rolling down the window will help them stay awake, because eventually the brain will override those techniques. Instead, they say drivers should take turns driving with an alert passenger or pull into a rest stop of a safe area and take a 20-minute nap and take breaks on long trips. AAA wants to warn people that drowsy driving can be dangerous on long trips, but also on very short, everyday trips. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I am hearing big things about Weight Watchers.
That's right, Richard. Weight Watchers will offer free membership for teenagers, ages 13 to 18. Dietitians agree that learning healthy eating habits at an early age is a good thing, with or without a diet program. Movie Pass is growing fast. The movie subscription service has exceeded 2 million subscribers, and the company says that's helped the movie industry by contributing $26 million in box office revenue. A federal judge ruled drivers for Grubhub are independent contractors and not employees. This is a big deal for companies such as Uber because they typically avoid the costs of traditional employment.
And what is the basis for this claim, Nicole?
The claim was brought by a driver who said the company was violating California labor laws by not reimbursing his expenses, paying him less than minimum wage, and failing to pay him overtime.
Nicole, on the New York Stock Exchange, thank you. Kristen, you have an interesting science story.
Yeah, Richard, human eggs have been grown in a lab for the first time ever. Researchers say it's an exciting opportunity to watch how human eggs develop and could lead to new ways of preserving fertility in children with cancer. And San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo became the highest paid NFL player when he signed a 5-year, $137.5 million contract. He's seen just 7 starts and 12 touchdowns over his 4-year career. And despite frigid temperatures, Tonga's Pita Taufa'atefua went shirtless for his country during the opening ceremony.
Tonga!
Pita gained fame when he first went shirtless during the 2016 Summer Games in Rio. Just glad he didn't break tradition. Which restaurant do you think has a cleaner kitchen? The one that serves 5-star fine dining or the one with the dollar menu drive-thru? The food service supply company Restaurantware looked at kitchens in high-end restaurants, fast food joints, and people's homes. Their names were omitted to protect the unsanitary. The fast food places had cleaner kitchens than the fine dining ones. A fancy Italian restaurant had over 3 million colonies of bacteria, 62 times more than a burger joint. The cleanest kitchen was in a fast food chicken place. It had just 300 colonies. There's a reason for the surprising study. Chain restaurants have a strict cleaning schedule, regular inspections, and corporate standards. Many germs spread by handling raw food. Fast food often arrives frozen. It also gets served on disposable plates with plastic forks, not items that get washed and reused. But home kitchens were dirtiest. By a lot. One home had 9 million colonies of bacteria. That's because most of us eat at home every day, and laws don't require us to clean up.
Time now for Royal Watch with The Sun. Let's check in with the legendary Arthur Edwards, The Sun's royal photographer for 40 years. He's in London. Arthur, welcome back.
Thank you, Richard. It's nice to be back.
Prince William surprised some students this week with a friend of mine called Professor Green.
Professor Green is a top rapper, and he and William surprised the students at the school. They really engaged with the children, took questions, and talked about mental illness and bullying at school, how to combat it, not to let social media depress you if someone attacks you on it and bullies you on it.
There was a report this week, and I couldn't work out if it was really true or not, but that Kate is having a baby and she's going to make Meghan the godparent.
No, I can't establish it. I can't find it to be true at all.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, she will then be an auntie, so Normally, they don't take the uncles and aunties as the godparents. I mean, Harry isn't a godparent to either George or Charlotte. Why would then they make Meghan the godmother to the new baby?
Godparents are there for when everything goes wrong and potentially they can pick up the pieces. You know, that baby's going to be all right. What's the worst that can happen?
Worst that could happen that could get you for a godparent, I suppose, but...
Arthur!
God bless.
Thank you.
February 14th is Ash Wednesday, marking the first day of Lent for Catholics and Christians across the world. Traditionally, people give up a luxury they enjoy for the 40-day period before Easter Sunday. So what are the most coveted vices that millions give up every year? According to a study by the Independent UK from 2016, popular choices are alcohol, coffee, and soft drinks. Giving up social media is a more recent choice, and perhaps a difficult one. Americans in particular have become somewhat addicted. It's a great idea, though, because studies have shown that the more time you spend on your news feed, the less happy you feel about your life. A few other things people often give up are chocolate, meat, fast food, and shopping. Sounds like a great way to save money.
It was the shortest government shutdown in US history. It was also the most pointless. Republican Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky used Senate rules to delay a vote on a spending bill till after the midnight deadline. He slammed the legislation as irresponsible.
If you were against President Obama's deficits and now you're for the Republican deficits, isn't that the very definition of hypocrisy?
Lawmakers passed the spending bill about 5 hours later. Pennsylvania Congressman Charlie Dent gave a remarkably bold statement, recalling the incident last year when Paul was attacked by a neighbor over a landscaping dispute. Dent said, "When Rand Paul pulls a stunt like this, it's easy to understand why it's difficult to be Rand Paul's next-door neighbor." That is quite funny. The new bill increases spending on the military and various domestic programs by about $300 billion over the next 2 years. And that was the second government shutdown in less than a month. It looks like the nation's first legal safe injection site will open in July, thanks to a unanimous decision made by the San Francisco Department of Public Health. Safe injection sites provide trained staff equipped to deal with medical emergencies and potential overdoses, as well as a space for users to inject previously obtained drugs like heroin and fentanyl. And the evidence for how effective these safe sites are is pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
More than 100 peer-reviewed studies on safe injection sites show them to be effective at reducing overdose deaths and preventing transmission of HIV as well as viral hepatitis as well. I mean, there is opposition, but the numbers on this don't lie.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, we wouldn't be having this conversation. In a perfect world, 63,000 people wouldn't die of drug overdoses in 1 year.
And you never have a perfect world.
Exactly. I know other cities like Seattle and Baltimore are also taking steps to create these safe zones, but San Francisco is going to be the first.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, very interesting. Now, here's a shocking story. In 35 states, law enforcement officers can avoid charges of sexual assault from people in their custody by claiming the sex was consensual. The thing is, few people realize such a loophole exists. Now, Richard, this is a huge issue, and right now, there's a story gaining a ton of traction and really putting a face to the issue. This girl out of Brooklyn, she's 18 years old. She was
Anna, she's known as. We don't know her surname, right?
Exactly. Yeah. She was pulled over by some cops. She says the cops, in short, put her in the back of their police van, repeatedly raped her. She came forward, went to the hospital, went to the authorities, and said, hey, this is what happened. But the police officers said the sex was consensual, so they can technically, because no law exists, they can get out of these charges.
What is interesting about her story is that her use of social media, which is a double-edged sword because it could be used against her in court, but actually her use of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter has meant this story has got out there, and coupled with the Me Too movement, it's become a big deal. The battle for a shorter work week is being won by the German labour union IG Metall, who've secured not only a shorter week for 2.3 million members, but also a big pay raise. Starting next year, workers at some of Germany's top engineering firms will be able to opt for up to a 2-year stint at a 28-hour work week before returning to the standard 35-hour work week. Speaking as a European, do you Americans find this baffling?
I think it's absolutely incredible. Because the reason why they're doing this is to achieve a healthy work-life balance. In America, employers don't care about the work-life balance. I mean, look at maternity leave. I've done so many stories on this, Richard, throughout the years. Maternity leave in the United States.
It's crazy.
It's like this big compared to most other nations around the world.
Europe.
I'm outraged. All right, here we go. A Lancaster, Pennsylvania man suspected on theft charges is in custody, all thanks to a composite sketch done by a witness. Now, I think I'm being complimentary in saying this sketch looks like a 3-year-old. Here is the sketch. Now, our friends at home can see the sketch as well. And now, here is the guy. The sketch, the guy.
No, but wait, sorry, what you're saying is the sketch worked, and as a result, they identified him based on this?
Yes, based on this.
Great thing.
And it looks like my 3-year-old son drew it.
One, it does look like him in the sense that it looks like everyone.
Hey, it was effective. You gotta give him that. And Top 30 will be back in 60 seconds. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, Michael Fuino's hearing had progressively diminished since the age of 5. Though hearing aids helped, he couldn't hear everything, like the sound of his kids playing or the horn of their bike. But now, thanks to a cochlear implant, the man who was only a step away from complete deafness can hear it all, like these 3 magic words.
I love you.
With a 3rd child on the way, Michael is happy knowing he won't miss a thing. Our next story from Fox 46 Charlotte. The Guarantor High School basketball team is learning plays off the court as well. Every week, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers meet with the team to either eat, tutor, or do community service projects.
They're the student athletes, they're the leaders of their school, so, you know, if you can reach them, you can reach other kids.
And the team appreciates the attention.
I want to say thank you for taking your time out your day to help us to be better men and to be better athletes.
Our final story from Fox 5 DC. DeJuan Burns has dreamed of making people look their best ever since she was a little girl. Now she's living that dream and giving women battling cancer some joy and beauty. DeJuan makes custom wigs for her customers in as little as 30 minutes.
Because some people don't have enough hair for me to do a sew-in or crochet style or something like that. So wigs, I say wigs are the new weaves.
And for those too sick to come to the salon, she goes to them with her mobile DeGlam shop, and often at no charge. A beautiful way to help these brave women as they fight.
Athletes arrived in Pyeongchang a week or 2 ago for the Olympics, but most countries have been planning the logistics of their arrival for years. This includes everything from all the Winter Olympic gear and equipment to clothing and uniforms. And if you're on Team Canada, this includes several 8-foot-high moose statues because Canada. Andrew Baker, the Canadian Olympic Committee's Director of Games, says he's been preparing for the team's arrival for years and has already taken 14 trips to Pyeongchang since 2013. Here's a look at some of the numbers. 18 shipping containers were sent across the ocean filled with Team Canada equipment and supplies, including furniture from Canadian Tire, so the team feels at home, 19,000 pieces of clothing from Hudson's Bay Company, and 26,270 pounds of equipment and bags. No one from Team Canada has explained how the moose statues fit in to their training regimen.
Danielle Knox from Fox 35 Orlando brings you what you need to know today. Danielle?
Hi, that's right, Kristen. Well, forget about the sky is falling. How about bacteria is falling? Scientists say a lot of viruses are falling from the sky. The new research says millions of viruses and bacteria are circulating the Earth's atmosphere. They eventually fall back down in rain. Well, it looks like Cupid's arrow is flying right past the cubicle office romances are down, according to Career Builder's annual Valentine's Day survey. Experts say office romances are at a 10-year low and believe the Me Too movement is what's led to that decline. Door delivery service is hot right now. We all know that, right? But what about drone delivery service? If a bill passes in Arizona, vendors would be able to send delivery drones to consumers. One company that operates in Silicon Valley and Washington, D.C. says that drones can deliver items up to 20 pounds within 15 to 45 minutes to homes within a 2-mile radius. Awesome if you need that chocolate fix. And that's what you need to know.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thanks, Danielle.
A growing number of American adults are sharing their living space. Last year, about a third of adults, or 79 million people, lived with another adult who wasn't their romantic partner or a college student, this according to the Pew Research Center. That's an increase from 55 million living in shared households in the mid-1990s. Shared living began increasing during the Great Recession. That was driven in part by millennials moving back in with their parents during the worst job market in recent memory. But experts say the current trend is due to the opposite, parents moving in with their adult children. In 1995, 7% of adults lived in a situation where they weren't the head of the household. That number has now doubled. Part of the reason is that non-white families are more likely to share their household. The trend is also the result of adults getting roommates to help out with the mortgage or rent due to high housing costs.
Studies suggest consuming less fat from vegetable oils can lower the risks associated with conditions like heart disease and increased inflammation, which is why we've got today's top 30 deal, GoWise USA Air Fryer at a special 54% discount. The GoWise USA Air Fryer allows you to enjoy your favorite fried food and snacks without the added calories. This is because air fryers require about a tablespoon of oil to achieve the moist and crispy textures associated with fried foods. The 2.75-quart air fryer is available in 4 colors: red, black, white, and purple, and includes a free recipe book. The GoWise USA Air Fryer retails for as much as $140, but today you can buy it for just $65. That's about a 54% discount, and you can get this right now at top30deals.com while they last. Fashion Week in New York is underway, showcasing some of the top new trends in design. But this year, there's a major change for the models walking the runway. For the first time, they will have private changing areas backstage. In previous years, the models were forced to change in public without any barriers. The change was sparked by the Me Too movement and recent allegations of sexual misconduct against models in the industry. There will also be signs posted backstage promoting a safe and respectful workspace. So as we enjoy the latest fashion on the runway, we can also get behind the evolving culture backstage.
The real estate website Trulia now lets consumers know if their potential new home is in a place where local laws protect against discrimination based on gender identity and sexual orientation. The local legal protections tool is aimed at home shoppers who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, or LGBT. The page lists 3 categories: housing protections keep residents from being unfairly evicted or kept from renting or buying homes; employment protections outlaw discrimination during hiring or in the workplace; public accommodation laws keep LGBT Americans from being denied services or entry to things everyone else can use, such as a public restroom. Federal housing and employment laws still don't protect LGBT Americans from discrimination. The company estimates that just over half of all housing units are in places where LGBT discrimination is illegal. One company is trying to determine who will be hacked next. In 2017 alone, there were 551 businesses that had information stolen. A hack of the credit bureau Equifax exposed the information of at least 143 million Americans. Other high-profile companies include Yahoo, Verizon, and HBO. The data company Citrix analyzed last year's data breaches. They determined the industry is most susceptible to hacking. Nearly 60% of all leaks came from the healthcare sector. They cost Americans nearly $1.2 billion. The technology sector came in second, but they were number 1. When it came to how many files were stolen, they lost $1.75 billion. Retail came in third. Much of the stolen data was credit card numbers and bank information. Experts have a theory as to why healthcare is number 1. The records contain contact info, billing details, and social security numbers. And unlike credit card numbers, that information can be used to open new accounts in your name.
Once an adorable puppy sits on your lap, all your troubles seem to melt away. And that's certainly true for the senior citizens who get visits from therapy dogs and cats. North Shore Animal League America is the world's largest no-kill animal rescue, and their shelter pet outreach team, or SPOT, arranges weekly visits to senior centers and nursing homes. The seniors light up when the animals enter the room, and the puppies and kittens seem to have a particularly calming effect on seniors with Alzheimer's and dementia. According to the Mayo Clinic, some people suffering from memory loss may also suffer from depression. But the animals immediately put the seniors in good spirits, who often recount fond memories of their childhood pets while cuddling a puppy in their arms. It's clear a little puppy love can go a long way, no matter your age. Hey, Richard, what's coming up on the next show?
Kristen, we're talking about driver's licenses. New technology could put your license on your cell phone, but not everybody is happy about it. Plus a look at where America's Olympic athletes come from, and a pair of troubled boys have a new home thanks to one teacher. Top 30 also covers more of the day's stories live on Facebook every day at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. See you on the next Top 30.